I'm here in the studio with Jay Nixon. He's the current Attorney General and he's running for governor, the Democratic candidate. I want to start by talking about you a little bit, some background, where you grew up, where you're from, your family, where you went to school.
Yeah, I was born and raised in a small town called DeSoto, Missouri, about an hour south of St. Louis. Went to high school there and then came up here to Mizzou. Was an undergrad at Mizzou. I graduated and went to law school at the University of Missouri also. My wife is also a double Mizzou law grad, both undergraduate in education and then also in law school, as was my mom and dad were both Mizzou graduates also, so we have a long and strong history of being educated here. I went back home, practiced law, was elected to the state senate in 1986, and in 1992 elected Missouri's Attorney General. I've served 16 years as the Attorney General of the state of Missouri.
What experience and how does that experience that you have help prepare you for the role of governor of Missouri?
Well, I think that clearly my 6 years in the state senate and working on the budget issues and anti-crime legislation and a number of other things, and then my 16 years as the state's chief legal officer have given me a tremendous wealth of experience as we sit here looking at what it takes to, in these difficult economic times, move the state forward. I mean, we're in a state in which we have lost more jobs in the last year than all 8 states that touch us combined. We have a lot of strong issues that are going to need insightful and aggressive leadership, and I feel that my history prepares me well to be the person that can make the difference to move the state forward.
I want to talk a little bit about the campaign. How does the way you run your campaign reflect how you'll run the officership of being governor?
Well, first of all, we've competed in all corners of the state. I mean, I said when I started this that if you're governor of the state of Missouri, you're governor of all corners. And we have taken that campaign to all corners of the state. And as I've listened to people and heard their stories, whether it's the wrong-headed health care cuts of Matt Blunt and the Republican administration that have been embraced by my opponent, that have made it more difficult for folks to get health care and afford health care if they do have it, or I think the lack of desire to grasp science and the future economy that we need that's caused our economy to move backwards. So we've run a race in which we've competed all across the state. We've broadest fundraising base in Missouri political history, and all of that has, I think, pointed out what I think is a very strong quality I bring to this. I get up early and I stay up late. I work hard every day.
You mentioned going all over the state and talking to all kinds of people from Missouri. The last couple of governor's races have been very close. So how do you connect with all the different types of voters in the state?
Well, I mean, Missouri is a diverse state, no doubt about it, cities, urban, rural, but I think that, first of all, from where I'm from, being from a small town gives me an advantage to connect in those rural areas. Obviously interact a lot in the cities also. But I find the more I travel around the state, while people are diverse in their backgrounds and diverse in their histories, they're united in the feeling that we need to move this state forward. We need some change, and we cannot continue on a pathway that has us having 700,000 people with no health insurance, us having lost more jobs in the last year than all states that touch us combined, us having 200,000 people getting unemployment that want to be working in the state of Missouri, us making college more unaffordable and making death a new college graduation gift. I've laid out clear plans to deal with all those, and whether you're in Puxico or St. Joe or Wayne County or Washington County, those are still things that I think that resonate with the majority of Missourians.
You talked a little bit about some of the issues facing many Missourians. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the next governor of Missouri?
Well, this economy. I mean, we just can't continue on the failed economic policies of Washington. My opponent embraced the policies of Blunt and Bush, both, and they have led us to where we are today as a state losing jobs and as a country having to come up with billions of dollars to bail out Washington, to bail out Wall Street as the term ends. The bottom line is we've got to build a new economy. We've got to reach that new economy. I think that until we provide a clear pathway to a debt-free college for middle class, a clear pathway for workforce development, and a clear pathway that reaches out to the science and technology that is the economy of the future, as well as get true energy independence, not just sidling up with the oil companies, but instead getting wind, solar, biofuels, all of the other things that can make us energy independent as a state. I think on all those fronts we have significant challenges, but meetable challenges here by the great Show Me State.
How do you bring some of that economic growth to the state that you're talking about through different ways?
Well, you got to make the connectors and incent those connectors. For example, I was up in Conception, Missouri, not so many weeks ago, where the wind farms are. We don't make those windmills in Missouri, and they're a year and a half back ordered in the parts. The bottom line is we've got a great opportunity to open up a new light manufacturing group that could do that. I was just this last week with auto workers in Fenton, Missouri, that in just a few short weeks are going to lose their jobs. Yet we sit here knowing that Ford, Chrysler, GM all have flex fuel vehicles and 40-mile-an-hour vehicles on their design boards right now. We need to be the first state in the country to get those new jobs, to reach out and draw those connectors to meet this new economy. We live in a state with 1.4 million people with no real-time access to internet. We need to put the parties together, get going on that, so that we have the railroad of the future covering all corners of our state, the internet.
And you've mentioned healthcare a couple times while we've been talking. How do you bring more healthcare to people in Missouri?
No, I mean, first of all, I think I've said all along that the policies of Matt Blunt, embraced by Kenny Hulshof on healthcare for the state of Missouri, are wrong. I think the record is very clear. Hundreds of thousands of people with no insurance, including a 44% increase in kids with no health insurance. At the same time, families that do have health insurance have seen a $2,000 premium increase for themselves over the last few years. At the exact same time, we have turned down $1.5 billion of money Missourians have paid in taxes that we could have drawn down to use as health care here in the state of Missouri, because these programs are federal state match, and turning those dollars down is a mistake. It passes a cost shift over to the private sector. It makes health care less affordable for folks that can have it, and makes it less available for those that don't. I think this administration, embraced by my opponent, are heading the wrong direction on health care. We need to make a change in that area, draw down those federal dollars, restore these Medicaid cuts, and get this state moving forward again.
All right, and as far as education, how do you hope to improve the education system as governor of Missouri elected?
I think a couple of things. I mean, if you talk K through 12 and one thing, we need to make sure we have kids ready to learn. We need to draw down those health care dollars so that the preschool screenings, health care screenings are done. We need to respect teachers again and understand that they should be in charge of their classrooms. I want to reformulate the senior year of high school so that kids can get at least one semester of college credit if they're outstanding students, and so it'll make college cheaper. And for kids not going on to college, we need to connect them directly to a trade school, to a vocational technical school, so that we can move the state forward in that regard. As far as higher education, I've laid out something called the Missouri Promise, a plan that we can afford and we can do, which would take our A+ program in the state of Missouri, which provides 2 years of community college tuition free to performing young folks, and turn that into a 4-year program for kids to keep a B average and are willing to do community service, so that kids, once again, middle-class families in the state of Missouri would be in a place that they could graduate debt-free from college, rather than having the end of college be looking at a financial load that you're meeting that's slowing down the economy. I think that Missouri Promise plan is something that can make a real difference and invest in the human capital that really is the future of this economy.